Call in, toss salads and scrambled eggs. Oh my. And maybe I feel a bit confused, but baby, I got you pegged. But I don't know what I'll do with those tossed salads and scrambled eggs. So call them again. Good night, Seattle.
Yes! Woohoo!
I'm not binge watching or anything.
What is up, everyone? I'm Jason Tucker. That is Bridget Willard. Today is Thursday. We're a half hour late. I'm sorry. We don't usually do latenesses around here, around these parts. But I was kind of wondering about that too, Roy. We'll talk about that in a minute. So, how's it going, Bridget?
It's going good. It's going
Awesome.
good. Yeah.
My youngest kid's going to be starting junior high.
Aww.
And I had to go to the junior high thing, which is why we're starting a half hour late. Yeah, that was not fun. That was kind of scary.
Oh.
I was like, no, not my kid.
Yeah, but still.
It was fun. We had a blast. We walked around, we looked at stuff, we got to see all the things, and it was cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Good stuff. And my wife went to that school. Our two older kids went to that school.
Dang.
It's just nuts. Yeah, we got like this whole dynasty going on. So
Southern California people have no reason to ever leave here.
This is true. This is totally true. So today's topic, we're going to be discussing post length. How long is too big? How about that? How big is too big?
Well, because I read that article on Moz, of course I should go find it.
You should, because we're going to totally sound like we're going to be taken out of context here if you don't do that.
Yeah, I will. Just one moment.
So the idea is that we're going to be talking about blogging. Today's going to be a blogging topic. We can definitely talk about tools to be used for blogging. So if you have anything regarding, say, like if you're looking for word count, post length, there's like all these like things where you'll kind of figure out what your scores are on posting.
Reading levels.
Yeah, reading levels.
I really want Hemingway app to be a WordPress plugin.
Oh, yeah.
With all of my heart. I don't know how that can happen. I want it.
I have heard good things. Unfortunately, I don't write great English. I don't speak great English.
That's why I like the Hemingway app.
Does it write you blog posts? Because that's going to be awesome for me.
No, but
I will up my game.
It helps you edit. You and Steve.
Yeah, me and Steve. So what does Hemingway do?
Hemingway app, what it does is, so it's patterned after Ernest Hemingway's writing.
Okay.
So less is more. It's kind of a minimalist approach. So what you do is you go to hemingwayapp.com and you get rid of their text and you put your text in there. And it will suggest to you ways to make your writing more clear. It will say X amount of sentences are really difficult to read.
Yeah.
It will give you the grading level, the reading level, the grade. See, we like it. We feel better when we write at 11th grade.
Oh, really? Because I don't. 11th grade is too high for me.
But we forget that newspapers are at 5th grade.
Oh, okay.
So there's like a battle with how do you want your website to be perceived? I'm like self-editing here.
Wait, so are you saying that my website is being perceived as a 3rd grader that doesn't know how to read?
No, but I'm saying like
4.5.
People don't read; they scan. There's a few people who are like radical readers. I have some readers because I posted this Moz article, and on Facebook this morning. I was like, "Do you agree or do you disagree with this one sentence where the lady says, oh, brother.
What?
Now I can't find the actual quote.
Oh.
But anyway, she was saying that if you lose people, they don't want to. Oh, this is what she said. Anne Wiley said, the longer your story, the less of it your readers will read, and the less likely they are to understand and act on it. Okay. And they did this study that a 9-paragraph long story lost 3 out of 10 readers by the 5th paragraph, but a shorter story lost only 2. So they read 33% more if it's shorter. So I was like, do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think about this? But then all my readers started commenting. They're like, I don't agree with that. It totally depends. I like to read long things. Yeah, but if you're busting out Lord of the Rings for fun, then you're not part of my demographic. It's just
You're like, I got 15 minutes to kill. I'm gonna read Lord of the Rings.
Let's get War and Peace out.
Why not?
We'll just read some Russian novel for the 15th century.
Let me put my bookmarking page 185.
I don't even have to do a book report on it. I'm just doing it because but when we're blogging for an audience, it's usually to be helpful and educational and persuasive if we have something to sell.
Yep.
So we want them to read and act. So it was interesting because I thought a lot of people would be like, yeah, I can't stand these 2,000 word posts. They're too long. Let's bring back 300 word posts.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo!
When I first started my business, I knew I needed to write some great things on my site, and I was like, I suck at writing. I need help. So I ended up getting a monthly plan for Grammarly Premium.
Oh, I like Grammarly.
Yeah, I use it on all my stuffs.
They don't have a plugin either.
They have a plugin. Well, not a plugin, but they have a browser extension that you can install.
Yeah.
So I use that. But that's pretty super handy. They have a free version. If you buy annually, it's $11.66 a month. If you do it that way, ends up being like $140 or something like that. So I ended up buying that. That was like my first expense that I spent money on. I was like, okay, if I need one thing, it needs to be, I need to make my website not look like I'm an idiot. And I'll let the rest of the stuff make me look like an idiot. But my writing is not going to make me look like that.
Right. No,
so, yeah.
The extension though, like Russ is saying, it kind of upsets him sometimes. I had to turn it off because it was messing up with my tweets. And it was slowing me down.
Oh, because you use the web browser
That's how I was
tweet?
using the extension.
Web browser Twitter?
I tweet on the internet at www.twitter.com.
I send my text message to 4040440. I don't know what you're talking about.
I could not handle it. And I tweet grammatically correct tweets. It was just driving me insane.
Yeah, see, I would use it on that. That'd be one of the reasons why I have it. Would be like, okay, the hashtag's not right. I get it. That's cool. Grammarly, it's fine. But what about the rest of it? Do I look like an idiot or not? So yeah, that's one. There's another one. Jetpack has it built in, which if you use Jetpack, the thing I was talking about, which is the whole like proofreading, double negatives, blah blah blah. There's a really great article, which is a couple years old, but it still holds up. It's Grammarly versus Jetpack versus Ginger versus Hemingway for WordPress.
Interesting.
So yeah, go take a look at that. There's a couple different links in there to check out.
Well,
always loose.
The thing is that the reason why I like Hemingway is for the one reason is these sentences are too hard to read. It's like the only one that goes beyond the actual spelling and grammar and says, this makes no sense, yo. Fix it. Yeah. Just
cool.
Test it out. Test it out.
Yeah, I'll give it a try because that's cool. It's just literally just paste in your text in there and have at it. Or you could spend $9 and get the desktop version of the app and give that a try too. And both works on both Windows and Mac. So
the other good thing about Grammarly, because I love them both, is that it will send you a report in your email and say, this is what you screwed up on this week. Here's some articles to read. Clearly, you don't know the difference between there, and there.
Roy's going to have you a plugin written by the end of this, I swear.
Oh, my gosh. Roy.
He's already digging in. He's already digging into the JavaScript. He's like, I can make this happen.
WP crowd, if you make me a Hemingway and love you forever.
Dude,
I know you just got married.
We will run a pre-roll. We'll run a pre-roll of your show every single week if you build this for Bridget.
Oh, that would be so awesome.
The pre-roll or the Hemingway plugin?
The plugin. Because See, people forget, and I will never forget going to the WordPress Day at the Nonprofit Technology Conference, and them saying, "Can you use WordPress for a personal blog?" Because we have gone so far. Oh, it's like that step sibling you're ashamed of because you don't even acknowledge them anymore. So you don't even acknowledge them. So it's a WordPress powered web property. This is no mere blog, right? It's a web property. And then the people are going, "Can I blog on WordPress?" Yes, you can. Please do.
Please do. Oh, boy.
Oh, see, I'm getting a notification because somebody talked to me in the chat.
Yeah, it was me. I put in another link. So the other one is Ginger, which is it's just on the computer. There's no there's a browser thing, but there's no it's not like tied into WordPress or anything. Which the thing is that there's people that write their posts elsewhere. They use something like BB Edit, Mars Edit, Editorial. Day One.
I use text editor.
You name it. There's all these different editors that are out there, and they always, they got the ones that are it's just the entire white screen with just a blinking cursor, and you just type like crazy.
Yeah.
So there's all of those. There's also those things built into WordPress too, so you can turn on the full screen mode if you want, and it kind of removes all the junk, and it just gives you a nice writing area to sit there and crank out on.
Yeah, distraction-free writing, I think it's called.
Yeah, distraction-free writing. So
it is distracting to look at the formatting, and also that's a different part of your brain. So, like I was telling Roy, that sometimes when people make graphics, with the WordPress spelling campaign that he's doing, when you're making graphics, you're thinking art. You're not thinking spelling. The language is not happening, and that's why people make mistakes when they make graphics. So I like the distraction. So I just do it in a text-free, or I do it in Google Docs. We have a shared drive.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But then I end up putting it in my plain text editor anyway before I put it in WordPress, because I don't want all the extra blah 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 wrong code stuff. You know how it does that sometimes?
Yeah.
When you're pasting your text into the WordPress, even if you say and you click on the A and say plain text.
Yep.
Still, you can get some janky code in there. So it's not cool.
Yeah.
You never want your extra code. You don't need extra code.
Nope.
Right?
So let's kind of dive in here on this whole links thing. We just talked about how to spell check and grammarize and
hey, those are important.
It is. No, totally
don't be
is.
publishing crap, people.
And if you do, make your significant other read it beforehand. That's what I make mine do.
I do that for jargon.
Oh, really? You're like, you understand this? And he's like, I have no clue. You're like, okay, getting rid of that one.
I did it for construction because pretty soon I'll get more into the WordPress and I'll start saying stuff and I'll have that risk again. But I'm so new that I'm aware of it. But yeah, it's really a good idea. This is a great thing you just brought up.
Yep.
Have somebody read it who doesn't know what you're talking about, especially if they're part of your target demographic. Like for us, we have a lot of nonprofits. They're not necessarily website developers. They're just some person that's volunteering and puts a Give plugin on their site. They might not know, Like today we had a call and he's a church, but he didn't know that you could use Give for a church. Churches are nonprofits.
Yep.
So yes.
Well, anybody can use it, right?
I know, right? But I'm just saying, just the word nonprofit. We all felt really confident about that, and then Jason and I were like, we need a landing page for church people.
Right. Are you a church or nonprofit? You should download our free plugin. It works with PayPal out of the box for free.
But wait, there's more. No, it's free.
It's free. You know what's funny? So today I was installing, not to go on a tangent here, but I was installing Give for the first time and started playing around with it. And I was like, okay, so how am I gonna I'm trying to get money for something, that I'm trying to do for our community here. But I don't want to spend money to get the money. Like that's counter, productive here. So I was like, okay, well, let me see here. And I started digging through. I'm like, oh, it takes PayPal. Awesome. Out of the box, PayPal. Perfect.
Out of the box, it takes PayPal.
That's awesome. It even takes cash.
Yeah,
I don't know how the cash makes it to me, but it takes cash.
They mail it to you. P.O. Box 3233, Dana Point, California, 926.
Rad.
Wink.
Yep. That's pretty cool.
But, so it's good to be aware, because sometimes you're not aware that you're using jargon.
Right.
So have somebody read your post if it's available. It really helps. We don't publish at WordPress without somebody else reading it. You get really engrossed in what you already said. Either Jason or Matt edits me and vice versa, because it's just you're too intimate, and what happens with your brain when you're editing, just to be on a little relevant sidetrack here, is that you know what you said, and so therefore you skip over it in your brain. Like those things you see on Facebook where it says, if you can read this, you're really smart. No, you're not. Our brain is wired to process language on prediction. So when you're self-editing or self-proofreading, it's good to have another person read it. Or if you can't, read it backward.
Yeah.
Read it out loud so your voice hears it. Like how they always say, talk to the duck for your programming problems, because then when you're saying it, they were talking about that on WP Crowd last week, I think Michelle was. And so when you talk it out, then you're hearing it. Now another part of your brain is engaged. I
was looking for him. There's my duck.
Oh, so cute, little duck.
His name is Domo.
But it helps. So you could do that with your writing too. So
exactly. Well, he might actually understand my writing, so that's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys use over there for managing your writing in WordPress itself? I've been using for quite a while now this plugin called Edit Flow. That makes it so that somebody who's a kind of a higher than you, has to read the thing before you can publish it. If you say, for instance, at some point here, you guys get really brave and start bringing on interns, you could have the intern sit there and go write all this stuff. Then it has to go through Bridget, because she actually knows how to put the words together to make the sentences that make sense. And then you can read it and then edit it and then say, you know what, it's ready to publish. You're good to go. So I don't know if you've ever seen this plugin before, but we use it over at the church and it works pretty nice.
Nope.
So what it does is it gives you a couple extra drop downs that are in the publish area. So if you look at the screenshots that just linked, it'll show you what the editorial comments are. It shows you does this need to be edited, what needs to be changed or whatever. But it also has kind of a calendar that's kind of built out too. So there's other ones that are doing this. There's editorial calendar. There's all sorts of different ones. But I like this one because, for one, it's updated all the time. It was just updated 18 hours ago. And it's made by some pretty awesome folks that make really great stuff. So, including this small little upstart called Automatic. So,
small upstart?
Yeah, small upstart.
So, here's the thing.
Yep.
We used to use CoSchedule. I hated it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think I'm the only one on the planet who thinks it's awkward. And so we replaced CoSchedule with Revival Post, because really I just wanted something to tweet out things. But the thing is, it got really confusing for us to edit in the dashboard. So we changed, because there's too many writers and guest writers and stuff, and a lot of times we were doing final proofreading in Slack.
Oh boy, really?
Yeah, it was way easier for me when I was the one saying, hey, Matt, second paragraph, third line, this needs to, punctuation side quote. But it was reversed. I was like, what the hell? I can't deal with this. Wait, what paragraph? Where are you?
You're like, open up Google Docs, drop it in there, use the little comments box, and type in some stuff.
Yeah,
right?
So what we do is all of our blog posts are in Google Docs on our shared drive.
Yep.
And they are edited and approved in the Google Docs.
Okay.
When those are approved and all the edits are done with all the comments and everything, it's really helpful because 3 or 4 of us could be in there and it's no problem. Then we put the approved text, then we being Bridget, puts the approved text in the actual dashboard, loads up the featured image, screenshots, blah, 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 whatever. So that's what we do now. It just got too out of control to do it any other way. Plus, you never know. So we like to have the backup of having the article in Google Drive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a company called Letterfeed that does this type of thing, where you're able to use this add-on for Google Docs, so that you can go and kind of editorialize your content and people can approve it and everything. So if you're looking for something that's just for Google Docs, that might be something to take a look at.
Wow.
Yeah.
I might have to watch the show later just for the. No, but see, that's the thing. Okay, so just like any tool,
yep,
you know what works? Whatever you're using.
This is totally true.
Right? So for us, the co-schedule does not work. It was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
If you don't write in the editor, sure, makes perfect sense. Why should you?
I have a Google sheet with my content editorial calendar and my ideas and what's written and what's published, so that I can everybody can see it right there. You don't have to be in a dashboard. You don't have to be getting in the middle of stuff. It's right there because I just published my last reserve. So old Mother Hubbard, I got to look into my cupboard of ideas, right? That's the bad part, So it's not about to me, that calendar didn't make any sense.
Yeah. So
I liked it this way, and they like it that way, and so that's what's going to work for us. But if you have, that's what I'm saying. Everybody has their own style. Like I was listening to Mastermind FM podcast with James Laws.
Oh yeah.
From Ninja Forms, and they were talking about him and his co-host. The one is a remote worker. He wanted to be a remote worker, so his whole company, WP Mayor, is all remote.
Wow.
And that's the way they like it, and they do everything in Slack, right? So then James was like the opposite. Everybody works in that office wherever they are in Tennessee or something. And everybody's there, and everybody's in the building, and that's the way they like it. So sometimes there's a personality that emerges in a team. And sometimes it's the person who decides that's the way they want it to be. So for us, we had some flexibility, and we tried doing it in the admin. It was so hard to fix things.
Yeah.
Once it was already there and formatted.
Yeah.
It's way easier in a Google Doc.
The idea of revisions sounds cool. Like in WordPress, it's like, oh, I can revert back. Like that sounds cool that you could do that. But like modern day editors do that. Like there's 100 times undo if you need to or whatever. And by the way, WP Mayor is looking for a part-time WordPress developer, and they're hiring right now. So feel free to go take a look at that.
Workers. So.
Right. So if you don't like working with other people, feel free to go check them out, and make sure you tell them that Bridget and Jason sent you. Folks, we're just trying to bring everyone together. That's what we're trying to do around here.
No, for serious.
So, okay. So we've talked about tools to edit text that you're writing. We still haven't cracked the whole how can I outsource the writing so that I don't have to do it myself. But there's that. Then there's how long should you write this stuff, right? So speaking of which here, I guess we should let this Russ guy in. So
let's Russ guy in. Release the Kraken.
What up, Russ?
Hi, Russ. Oh,
and
no.
He's muted.
We can't hear you.
No. Maybe he's
saying, I'm Russell Aaron. I WordPress all the things in Vegas. I'm in charge of the Vegas meetup and Vegas WordCamp, which is October 8 and 9.
Can you guys hear me now?
There you are!
He's in Q Russ on all the things.
Yeah. Oh, is that how you say it?
In Q, yeah.
How about now? Can you guys hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, and you
Okay.
look good too. Like your video is really clear, like Jason's.
Thank you. So
I need the pixelated filter.
So I want to blow your mind here for a minute.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of research on the length as well, because last, actually Tuesday, on the WP bloggers meetup here in Vegas, we were actually talking about how like the minimum now is like 1,200 words or something like that.
Wow, really?
It's something like that. So my argument actually is, if you have a blog post and it's like the whole theories behind who shot JFK, like, yeah, it could be phenomenal. But if I posted something that just said Lee Harvey Oswald did it, I would have so many more blog hits than you, and I would have all the readers. I'd retain them, just because I think a lot of people, especially today, because they get to choose their facts, they're going to be the ones who are like, nope, here's the quick and easy fact. It was Lee Harvey Oswald, end of story. You know, so you can argue it both ways, and you can say longer is better or shorter is better. I think it's your readers dictate what you need to write, and I think the length, because nothing upsets me more than like our local news station does this, Fox 5. They'll post like school lockdown for gun violence, and then like you have to click their blog, and then you click on their blog, and like the actual details are hidden all the way at the bottom.
I hate that.
Yeah, it's like, you know, like my kid's in danger, and you're going to make me read 200,000 words just to be like,
Because they want the site time over 2 minutes, Russ.
I don't care. Like, you're jeopardizing people's lives, or you're jeopardizing someone getting in touch with their kid by 2 minutes, you know? Like, you can make that argument. Like, it's
But
I watched
here's
the
the
news.
thing, Russ. We're in a world where Instagram video is 15 seconds.
I watched the news to find out what happened already.
But you have a good point, though. Like, there's some
True.
clickbait, and then
That's true. Yeah.
like, even if you want to see somebody's dress from whatever award show, 10 years later and 15 slideshow clicks,
yeah.
it just, they make you work too hard. And I feel like we are are competing for those eyeballs.
Yeah, but it goes back to the theory that if somebody only did 20 minutes of homework and someone did an hour of homework, the person who did an hour of homework should get a higher grade. And I don't think that's necessarily true when you look at, like, just because someone only wrote a paragraph, that could be the best written paragraph that you've ever had, and it's on point, it's to the point, and it's very specific. I don't think that just because you wrote more words means you get a higher grade. I mean, like, these are things that people...
I agree with you. And this Moz article says it's actually harder to write more concise.
But these are things that people at Google are having conversations at right now. It's one of those things where, like, how do you rank content just because, like, by the length of whatever it is? Because technically, if I do that, I could just write about pools for, 300 paragraphs, and then put my actual paragraph somewhere in the middle, and I could rank really high. So it's one of those things that it's an ongoing debate. I don't think there's an actual length that you need to write, but I definitely think that shorter is always better.
Well, Google does like 2,000 words from everything that I read. But even in Yoast, it says it wants it to be a minimum of 300. So I'm like, split the difference. Let's make it between 500 and 800 words.
But that's because Juiced is over in Amsterdam, and 300 words to them is like gold.
I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting concept because it keeps getting talked about. So Jason was like, "What should we talk about?" I'm like, "I just read this. Moz is like trustworthy, Of course, their post is." How many words is their post? This post about how short it should be is super long, actually.
Dang, this is really long.
I know.
Well, so
read.
I think from like a WordPress standard, when you're going to write about a plugin and you want to like sell somebody on the idea, I think longer is better in that sense, because you're going to explain, like, here's how the option framework works, or here's how this works, or here's how it ties into your theme. I think you need to be very specific. And I think you need to like give clear documentation when it comes to things like that. Mm-hmm. But when you're just like writing a blog post about who wore it best, I think that should, be a paragraph max, and then just get to the pictures already, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I
I
always tell people this on their dating profile. Like, no one's gonna read your about section and like what you're trying to accomplish. Just get to the pictures already, like.
So this actual Moz blog I copied and pasted into Hemingway app. It's 1,605 words, and it has an 8th grade readability.
Wow.
And
so it was written by Bernie Sanders.
It's just really long. But see, it was worth being long. So that's the thing. It's like, why should it take you 6,000 words to get to the point that Lee Harvey Oswald is the one that pulled the trigger?
Well, so
especially on something that everybody already knows is fact. So sorry, Jason.
Man, you guys ruined the movie for me.
Well, so we actually have somebody in the WordPress group, and he's in the bloggers group, and he's very analytical. Like, he's the guy that will like keep diving, and like he'll find out what that means to find out what this means, and then like he'll start at web programming, and like by the end of the night he's on gardening. Like, he's very curious about how things work, and I think those long articles are designed for those people that are very curious and they want to know everything. But
so there's a venue for it. So documentation should definitely be longer.
I think there needs to be
persuasive content is different.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a plugin that says, "Do you watch the Jersey Shore?" And if they say yes, it just gives 200 words, and if they say no, it gives you like 12,000 words.
It's like a red box and a blue box. It's like, press the blue box.
That's what I'm saying. So
people who don't know who the president is.
That's the pagination. Push the blue box to go to the next words.
No, it's literally, I think it needs to be like a speak and spell where it's like the cow says, and if they get it wrong, they're going to give you like, here's the 200 word post, like.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think you need variety.
No, I definitely think that it's true that you need to mix things up, and I definitely think that it helps by having different minds and different people write about the same topic. NASCAR used to do this. They used to say who is the best driver, and then they would have two bloggers, and they would make their point almost like they were trying to convince a jury on who's better. And it was one of those things where the content was like 100,000 words, but it was two separate articles by two separate people combined into one, telling who was the better NASCAR driver. But it brought value because it was, arguing points. It's one of those things where that's value added instead of just talking about like, well, I'm going to blog about this dress because it's in season. Like, that's not value added. Everybody knows, Ugg boots rule. So, like, you can keep that paragraph out. You know what I mean? Like,
it was black and blue. Okay.
Oh, the dress, yeah.
The dress.
I think it'd be funny if it was like orange and green, and it was like a whole GoDaddy thing.
A bunch of people did really good jobs at rebranding those. Making it according to their brand. It was really clever. So the answer is there is no answer.
Yeah, it's hashtag it depends.
Well, I think
which is the WPwatercooler way of saying.
Next week on Vague Blab,
right? Which is pretty much the
we will not answer another question.
No, I think it's one of those things though that it's an ongoing topic. Like, are plugins better or are themes better? I think it's one of those where I think Google in 5 years will say shorter is better because they're predicting that in 5 years mobile will take over computers. So you don't want to have 10 paragraphs on a page, you want to keep it like within the screen size. So I think we'll see it getting shorter as time goes on, but I definitely think that it's one of those things where as of right now, it's whatever you're reading. Like, if I have a post status membership, and if Brian Crosgard started writing less words, I would kind of be upset just because I learned so much from him. But, if he made a valid argument, here's why we're doing it, I feel like he would have it justified. Instead of just saying, hey, we were this long magazine, now we're going to a short magazine,
Right. So what are the strategies here in trying to either break up this like really long post that you're writing, or I always look at like the kind of the Chris Lemma school of blogging, which is I want to be able to go through all the H1s real quick and just blast through the entire thing and go like, what's he talking about here? Like, what's really important for me to like, is this something I should totally read, or is this something that I need to like, bookmark and come back to later, or look at it using, some other tool or something? Like what is the right way to go about this? So, I always look at his stuff and think, okay, well, the problem in WordPress, all right, part of the issue is our focus. Oh, wait, look, I should focus on this. He even put the word into this thing. Maybe I should read this paragraph. So like he does this where it's like H1, H2, some bold text. He knows that the ADD generation is who's reading this stuff, and that he really needs to capture them and make sure that they stick around to read the entire thing, because he doesn't just write 12 words. I mean, the guy's writing a decent amount of words when he's putting this stuff out there. And I've watched him do it, sat there and watched him write a blog post. It's crazy.
You know what I wish more people would do is when you have like a meeting and you call like 10 people in, I always start off by saying, here are the 5 things we're going to talk about. If you are not related to these departments, you can leave and you'll get the email later. That way, I'm not wasting your time. You're not wasting my time with not wanting to be there. I kind of wish blogging would go to that sense where, listen, we're going to talk about the length of blog post. We're going to talk about these 3 things. If you're not interested, bounce now. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where you're just letting people know what to expect. I think expectations, when you set those early, I think you get a better retention.
You do. And like, Jason said, this is a 1,500 word post. It has bullets. It has H1 and H2 and H3 tags or whatever.
It has gunpowder in lead.
It's broken up. But for me, when I read, I don't have time for all this crap, right? So it better be really good. Right. So what I do is I read the first paragraph, then I read the last paragraph, because those are your bookends, right? If I don't feel convinced by your last paragraph, so I don't read like that at all. I just go to the first, I go to the last, and I decide if I want to keep reading. Sometimes I read it backwards.
And now I know why Bridget doesn't write code. Like,
can you imagine? Opening function, closing function.
Body tag. End of body tag.
It just says echo some stuff here. Like, I've been learning how to build plugin frameworks, like having repetitive fields and options and like a whole options panel. And there's a great plugin called Admin Panel. So I'll link to it here in a minute. But you have to like literally go through and read the documentation to understand how the classes work and how the code works. And I think if those articles were shorter and it just said, here, copy and paste this and hopefully you figure it out, I don't think that would work. So I think that's a very good example of why you just can't read the top and read the bottom.
Well, right. And it depends on what you're reading, right? I would never do that. Like, I can put IKEA furniture together, but I'm not going to try putting a plugin together without reading something, right?
Oh my!
But if it's Bridget's story about how she changed careers, I mean,
could you
have to care about me before you care about that story.
Could you imagine putting IKEA furniture together by just reading box 1 and then reading box 200, and it just like has all the parts on the floor, and then it just has a picture of the chair, and you're just like, somehow you build it.
Yep, and it's gonna have one of these.
Right, exactly.
Do you know what that's called?
It's called an Allen wrench.
Ooh, go Bridget.
I was in construction.
That doesn't mean that you use
14 years. I wrote about epoxy injection.
You work in
structural repair.
You work in WordPress, but I don't see you writing OPP like plugins or something.
OPP, who's down with me? OPP is PHP. I left my wallet in GitHub.
Oh my God.
got to get it back.
Bridget, I just think you made the best T-shirt ever. Like, instead of I left my heart in San Francisco, I left my wallet in GitHub. Oh my god! Or I think it's I left my
brain.
No, I think it's I left my commit in GitHub.
There you go.
Oh my god, that needs to be on a WordCamp shirt tomorrow.
There you go.
So what do you guys think? What do you guys think of this kind of, I don't know how new this trend is, but I know a lot of sites do it, including Moz. This idea of having a read time at the beginning of the post. I love it. That gives you a rough idea of how long is it going to take you to read the post.
I love it. Based on what Russ just said, it tells me the expectation. Medium does it. Okay, do I have 15 minutes? Okay, so then I'll just read it.
So you can combine this with the idea that Russ was coming up with of a Kardashian checker to kind of figure out if this person is, a certain way or what have you. You could tie those two together. So you can kind of figure out, like, do you want a summarized version of this thing or do you want a full-blown version of it? Maybe something like that. And I don't know how you would go about that other than just writing like a long excerpt.
I think it would be something that would, I think it's kind of a restrict content pro theory where, you have to be logged in to see the full version or, you're logged out to see. I think you start there. If you're logged out, you get to see the whatever. And it says if you want to see the longer version, log in. But then I think it's one of those things where you hide the text, it's like an Ajax call.
Like gating.
No, well, yeah. No. I think it's like an Ajax call where it's just like load more, and you keep reading more of the post or your
first server language thing.
Yeah, like you're
not cleaning your house.
Yeah, like your first.
So I've seen that where like they'll even make some like nice little CSS kind of fade out type thing with a button on it says click here to read more, and then it just like spits out the rest of it.
The New York Times does it. Wall Street Journal does it.
The thing is they're not doing that because they're trying to be helpful. They're doing it because they're trying to get the ad as close to the top as possible, so that way it'll drop back down once you click the button.
No, fair enough.
You have to be a subscriber.
Right.
But so I think you start that way. I think it's a plugin that says so I think you have a short, it's almost like the excerpt and you have the content of a post, right? So, I mean, we already have that. Where you could just load the excerpt and you could load the content and you could give somebody a toggle that says, do you want to read this or do you want to read that? And based on what they check, it's going to, enqueue that or enqueue this. I think that's an easy way to go,
Huh.
That's interesting. Does somebody want to make that?
You could almost have like a he said, she said type of blog post based off of something exactly like that.
Wait. So have you ever seen 40 Days of Dating?
No.
41st Date?
No. It's called, So it's called 40 Days of Dating, and there's this couple in New York. They've been friends forever, and they decide, okay, we're going to date, and we're going to date for 40 days. And so what they did was they went on a date, and then he would write something, and she would write something, and they would date it for the same date.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can see his thoughts.
Oh, this is so cool.
You can see his thoughts about the date, and you can see her thoughts about the date. And it's one of those things where it's like, he's like, well, I wasn't sure if I should kiss her. And hers, she was like, I wish you would have kissed me. But like, they didn't know until the 40 days were over. Like, they didn't release it like the next day or something. It was one of those where, it went on 40 days. But
this is genius.
It's a phenomenal WordPress website.
It's genius.
Getting caught in the rain.
And they even made a book.
It's that song. It's the Pina Colada song in a blog.
That is so awesome.
Yes. So I mean, essentially, you're doing the same thing, but with your content. You're just saying you can read Russ's or you can read Jason Tucker's, where Russ's is going to be short, where Tucker's is long. I mean, you could start by doing that and then, build it from there.
Oh, it's interesting. The girl is shorter than the guy in some of these.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
That goes against the...
Well, she probably is like, whatever for this one. Like, that date sucked. Whatever. And then you get to like day 10 and it's like, oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, interesting.
No, I love it. I love this idea.
It's one of those things where I got suckered into reading this thing. Like I found it, somebody posted it, and it was just interesting. Like when it comes to dating, you don't know both sides of the story. I think when it comes to anything, you don't know both sides of the story unless both people tell it. I think this was something that was really interesting to read. It was a great concept, but I think in terms of saying, do you want the short or the long of it? I think this is a good way to go.
That would be so awesome for plugin reviews.
Oh yeah.
A beginner and an expert instead of a male and a female.
That would be cool.
But so how would you go? So what you're saying is like
the side-by-side plugin review.
Right. So
if somebody who's a beginner and somebody who's advanced.
Right. You're like, I really like this because of the function that the guy wrote. And the other guy's like, I really like this because I don't know how to write any functions, and this thing did it all for me.
No, beginner would say, I liked the watermelons on the side.
Right.
That's all I wanted.
It's so cute. Look, you can see all of the icons. You know, that's the whole thing.
Because we don't know any better when we're beginners. Although I think I might be wearing that term out a little bit more.
I think what you're referring to though is
because I know what an advanced custom field is now, so I can't just start.
Yes, we are bringing her into the fold.
Wait, did you just use the singular? Like, you know what one advanced custom field is? Because you know it's called fields, right? Like,
in WordPress with the capital ACF.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, no, but there could be a field.
That's very true. But
I know how to hide them now because Devin showed me. It's like I went to do this blog post. I go back and do SEO in a client post, and I'm like, where is the blog post? All I see is the advanced custom fields.
Because they were like, I need this out of the way, and I just want to get to my spot.
Yeah, you can hide it.
Yep, under the options field.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
That was the one takeaway that most people came out of my talk in San Diego last year. I think it was last year. Yeah. Where they were like, oh, there's an options box up in the corner of the editing thing. I'm like, yeah, you click on it, you turn all that junk off. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, not only that, but like in each one of my plugins, I write a help field.
Oh,
so
yeah.
And so people are like, wait a minute, I don't have to go read the support forums for your plugin. I can just click help and it tells me what to do. And I'm like, yeah.
If there's support forums at all.
Right.
There are. Like they're actually kind of busy when you get into like using them more often. But what I'm saying is like everyone, you have screen options and then you have like a help tab, and like you forget about these things as you progress. I mean,
right. I was just looking for documentation today on a plugin I was testing.
What plugin?
Or I didn't even know documentation existed. And guess what? I went to their website because I knew, go look for the documentation before you ask for help.
What plugin was it?
Documentation.
What plugin?
It's called Hype Social Pro.
Hype Social Pro. All right.
Yeah, it's a competitor to Revival Post.
Okay.
Ooh, is this one cheaper?
Works with Buffer. Well, it costs. There's no free version.
Oh, but it works with Buffer?
It does work with Buffer and custom post types, Jason.
Nice. See, Bridget, all I gotta do is tell Bridget one of my problems, and she's like, I got you, don't worry about it, I'll figure it out for you.
I latch onto random information, and then all of a sudden I have these moments where it all clicks together. Like I'm just building a puzzle, and then I don't have the corner edges yet.
Yep.
I feel like if Bridget got into custom post types and she like saw some of the benefit that you can have from them, I think Bridget's whole world would become custom post types. I really do.
I did ask Jacob at the meetup. I said, because I started to ask in the regular part, but I was like, this is too stupid. So I waited later. And I asked Jacob Ariola, I said, what is the strategic reason for using custom post types? Because they look the same to me, so I don't get it.
Yep.
And so once he explained it to me that basically you're creating a different template and that you could just keep duplicating this over and over and over again if you have a certain kind of thing, I was like, oh, sold.
Well, so on my blog, I have a dedicated section just to WP Watercooler. So when I post a new WP Watercooler show, it goes into a custom post type called WP Watercooler. And just that way, I separate all my blog posts specifically for that in one bucket.
Oh, your categories are custom post types?
Yeah. So I'm going to blow your mind here for a minute. So I have WP Watercooler, and then I have WordCamp Talks, which are videos of all my WordCamp Talks. And then I have a new series on my blog called Listen To, which is all about bands that I want people to get interested into. So instead of putting those all into posts and then assigning it a category, right? Instead of putting them all into one bucket and then sorting them, I sort them from a higher level up and put them into their own bucket.
And what is the advantage of doing that?
For me, it's just I know, okay, somebody did this, I know where to go. Instead of saying...
It's a navigational issue for the end user or organizational issue for you?
Both. So
Both?
So it's one of those things where if you just go to my website /listen to, you get all the posts. Where if you go to blog, you're going to get every post I've ever written instead of just all the posts about the music.
So it's like hacking your archive pages.
Well, it's one of those things where, like, if you don't have your permalink set right, you have to go to WP Watercooler /category /Slack, and then you get to your post where it's almost easier just to remember WP Watercooler.
Then I needed that for my Keys to Being Social series.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I do. Is everything is a custom post type just because.
I don't want to redo it. I just did the Beaver Builder. That's that. Oh, I just talked about Jacob. His ears were burning. Hi, Jacob.
I put up the Jacob signal outside, and he looked outside and saw
now
it.
That I see that if you're saying if I had done that with my Keys to Being Social series, then it would just be like bridgetwillard.com/keys2, and it would automatically archive everything instead of me manually putting a landing page.
Well, or not even a landing page, but just like you have to put a link up in your menu that does this.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I did.
Well, you're still going to have to do that regardless, just so people can link to it. But I mean, I want people to remember categories in their browser just by clicking RussellMD/L and brings up listen to, instead of trying to bring up category / whatever. You know?
Yeah, see, I can see what you're trying to pull off, Bridget, and the I guess the only real way to do that is you wanted to have something that says like for instance Russ's thing, if he's doing listen to. His list before he even gets to his post, which he has these nice horizontally, set up things. He'd have a whole section on the top that says like, this section is about, bands that I really want you to listen to. Now, the only way to really do that is to be able to customize the page template that's for that particular custom post type. So we're getting kind of a little bit more deeper into the weeds to be able to pull that off, but that would be the way that you would go about doing that.
It basically is making the archive page super easy for you.
Yes. You're modifying the archive page.
Not only that, but you're also going to increase performance, because when you load your blog page, what you're doing is you're saying, okay, WordPress, go get every post in the database. And if you have 5,000 posts, it has to go and research and query all those. Where with a specific post type, I can just say, go get all the post types from this category. And so I'm only loading 5 on the page instead of trying to search through 10,000 posts for those specific 5.
So it's easier for you, easier for the end user, and more efficient on the server.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I just blew your mind, I know.
I really don't. I'm too lazy to put that on my website right now, but...
So I'll be completely honest with you, though. The only downside to that...
You can't use Revival Post free version.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
This is true.
We found that out.
but second of all, it's when you create custom post type, it creates a new menu item in the navigation bar on the left-hand side of the dashboard. So you might have your settings page. You might have to scroll like 10 times to get to the settings page instead of just going to post all posts. So I mean, It does. There are ways to get around
Oh,
it.
you mean in the dashboard?
In the dashboard, yeah.
Not for the end user.
No,
Not for the visitor.
But for in the dashboard, like you have to like, it's kind of taxing on the eyes. Is what I'm saying. Like there's all this content. Everything is a menu item.
So you need a drop-down menu for your custom post types.
Correct.
Yeah. So I guess
There's a plugin.
so the way around that for you, Bridget, would be that you could use the category description that's in each category. Since you have all your stuff categorized, you could use the category description to do that. Category description, if I remember correctly, doesn't have any of the WYSIWYG editing type stuff, but it's just text.
There's plugins to do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could do it. I'm sure I can make a better landing page in Beaver Builder. I did my homepage in Beaver Builder.
Right.
I actually have one. I'll load one up. I know it's my apps category. I'll show you what he's talking about, Bridget.
You could also in Beaver Builder turn on the archive pages. There's an area in there you can turn that on, and so that way you'll be able to make changes to that too. I'll put a link in.
If you click that, Bridget, what it does is at the very top of the page it says, "These are all my favorite apps," or "These are apps I'm really interested in," and like it's a very short memo, gets right to the point about that category, and that's what he's talking about. So
yeah.
But what I'm saying is like you have to again go to /category/apps.
Oh, okay.
Where with the custom post type it would just be
/apps.
Yeah. But I mean there's ways around that. There's hooks to get rid of the category and the URL.
Yoast does it. Yoast SEO does it. You can turn on the checkbox, they'll do it.
Yeah, but so I mean like the easy way to do it is just with the custom post type. But again, if I gave you an entire bucket of fruit and I said, all right, now go find all the oranges, you would have to search through all the fruit to get the oranges. And then I say, all right, find the bigger ones versus the smaller ones. Where if I gave you a bucket of just oranges, I already skipped a step. You don't have to go through all the fruit. I can just say find the bigger and smaller ones.
Right.
For me, that's so much more time saving than it is to just load everything in the post.
So when you're doing your content strategy, just to sort of bring this together,
we're
not totally as derailed as people might think. You're making it easier for yourself, for your team, for your user, and your server actually to use custom post types. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Especially if you have a lot of different categories, like you're talking about WordPress and rock music.
Yep.
Well, so one of the problems that we had early on was we had guest bloggers, and so they would write in the dashboard, and then they would check the categories, and they would check all the categories because they wanted their blog post to come up in every category. Like,
I do that.
Don't get me wrong; it makes sense when you're narcissistic. But what I'm saying here is that this way I say, listen, all of music goes in the music. Don't put it in the post. It's not a page. It goes in the music. Like it's very cut and dry from that kind of management of running your business. And then it's like, listen, all of these are only, 2 paragraph long. And I can set standards instead of saying, well, if you're writing in this category or if you're writing in this category, I can dictate by the custom post type how long I want the post to actually be.
Yeah.
And customizing the look and feel of a custom post type and making them consistent is great, because if you can customize anything. If you're going to customize a particular category, you could totally do that. But customizing a custom post type that has a category, now you're getting into music and then rock music. So like you're in music and it looks one way.
Genres, yeah.
Then you go into that particular genre of music and you want it to just be like heavy metal, or if you want it to be, like whatever. So you can customize the look and feel of that post just based on, that categorization. So
so if I hear you, what you're saying, Jason, is you're saying like for music, when I go to a genre called rock, I want to have a background of like Pantera, but when I go to a category of country music, I want to have like Brooks and Dunn.
Yep.
It's easy to do that by saying if category equals, instead of saying if category is, or I'm sorry, if post type is, because then it's going to load the same background.
Yeah. So what's weird about that is that you would have you'd have like a hierarchy of categories if you're trying to pull that off. Because then you would have like music would be the top category, the parent category, and then a child would be all the different genres of music. Well, I'm with you, Russ. The more times I can make it easier for my users to be able to get in there and interact with, the back end without having to try to figure out like what category is this in or anything like that. They don't, most users don't think this way. Like we did I work at a church and we did this daily devotional thing called Ears to Hear. And I wanted to have /ears to hear and have a nice, hierarchy or a nice, listing of all of the stuff there. But I also wanted to have a top level post list over on the left-hand side in the dashboard that they can click on that menu item, get straight into that thing called Ears to Hear and start writing their blog posts. It makes way more sense because most users don't think the way that we're thinking. We're thinking like it's a post and then here's all the categories, and it's like not necessarily.
So as a plugin developer, I work with a mortgage company, so I have a post type that's called mortgage rates. And so every day I'm scraping our mortgage rates and I stuff each one to its own post. But so when I'm building a new feature, when I want to export all of those posts, I can just go to export and I can select just that post type, and it only gives me the data that's in there instead of exporting every single post.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is when you go to export all your stuff out, instead of saying get all the posts between this time and this date and this, like that was crazy for me. I just want to get all the rates. So just, a custom post type gives me that advantage as well. So when I'm testing very super specific things, I can say, just get these instead of saying, well, get these and then I'll sort through them later.
So let me just kind of back up.
Yeah, go for it.
So also on the custom post types, if I'm not mistaken, you can format it a certain way, right?
Yep.
So like I noticed we talked about distraction-free writing earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just looking at this Chris Lemma post, and I know my friends at Blue Steels do this too, there is no sidebar. It's almost distraction-free reading, which as a content marketer seems wrong.
Well, it's also a trend that's right now in that we're in this kind of trend of having no sidebar on everything. We're actually on our church site, we're actually ripping out all the sidebars on the entire site and then building out these nice, clean looking widget blocks on the bottom that have all the stuff that was usually stuffed on the sidebar. It's mainly because it's more of a consistent feel for the person who's using the website on mobile versus using the website on their computer. Because then they're just seeing the exact same thing. Then you can optimize the look and feel of it, kind of,
Well, so if you use something like Genesis, you can just say, I want to use the full width template for this blog post, and you won't have a sidebar. Or you can say, I want to use the sidebar template, and then you can pick what sidebar you want. So that's one way to do it. But so from a template,
my theme lets me do that, and I did it for my homepage. I have no sidebar, but I just thought it's interesting because in some ways when we're writing, we're serving ourselves. In some ways, we're serving the audience.
Well, it's one of those things, though, that once you start getting into development and you build themes, you can make a specific file for your post type. So when you say, I'm going to write a music post, it actually loads up music.php instead of post.php, and then in music.php you can just not declare a sidebar and you'll never have it, and then in post.php you can declare a sidebar. So post types don't let you usually select the template like pages do. A page will let you say the full width or the whatever, but a post type, I kind of like it this way where you just say, this is the template I want you to use no matter what, go from here.
Yeah, Bridget, if you were to pull up this, which it's going to like gobbledygook until we explain it to you.
Because it starts with the subdomain developer.
Right. So
oh my God.
It's okay.
Chart from hell.
It is. But
my eyes.
So let me show you real quick. So if you scroll to the far left-hand side, you may need to like click to zoom in. If your browser supports that. Scroll over to the far left-hand side and go down to the second box down there where it says singular page. That's how it starts breaking down each one of the PHP files as it works its way in.
Our meetup.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
that's because Steve learns from me. That's why.
Yeah. But so WordPress has this order where it says if there is a page called archive-music, then use it. If not, let's check for post. And then if there is no post, let's go to index. It always wants to serve a template regardless of what you do. But this way, I get to be very super specific in how I broadcast my content instead of saying, oh, just use the homepage for every page. Yeah.
So this is where that thing we were just talking about of having a music section with genres makes it super easy to do, because to do this without that and it's just a post,
it's super hard.
Because what you're doing is you're going like, oh, is it a child of this particular category? In this it gets bananas super fast.
Yeah.
So I'd stay away from it. But this right here is a cool way to like look at it and see like what the heck does singular.php mean, or what does single.php mean, or what does page mean?
So bringing this kind of full circle, if you're somebody like Roy and he writes code all the time and says, hey, I figured out this new hooker filter, it's one of those things where you can say, I have this post type and it's called code, and I write all my code-based blogs in here. And so my template for this post type doesn't get the featured image, doesn't show the categories, doesn't show the blog author. It just shows the code. Instead of saying, well, go ahead and just use the same thing that you're using as blog posts. And now you feel like you have to use the featured image. You feel like you have to put it in a category. I mean, it's almost taking distraction free and making it so much easier.
That's what Bill Erickson does that on his site over at billerickson.net/code. He does exactly that, where he wants to have all these different posts, and each one of these posts spits out a nice little clean list, and you can click on one of them and read about that.
Snippet library.
Yeah.
So he did exactly that. That's just one of his custom post types.
But being on GitHub or whatever.
But so you can see his content though. So when we talk about length, he's going strictly for just here's how it works. He's not going into like the theory behind it or the story behind like how he came up with it. It's literally just like here's the code. Hopefully it works. Modify it yourself. Instead of saying, well, I was at WordCamp and me and Jason Tucker were talking and we were having a couple beers. Like just get to the code, dude. Like that's all.
So every time we talk, we're like full circle. But for serious, this is what we were saying.
Yeah.
It depends on what the content is.
It totally does.
Content and the context of the content should determine the length, and the length should feel natural. It shouldn't be like, I used to know this person who would tell these stories, and the stories were so detailed that you were just dying in your chair because you could not. And I don't give a crap what color the sky was or the name of the bird that flew over your head. What happened? Just get to the point. Like if you're a really good storyteller, then you're going to be drawn into it. But somebody's like, well, I was driving down the street the other day and this hummingbird passed in front of me. And you're thinking now the hummingbird is part of the story. It's not. I got run over by a truck. The hummingbird had nothing to do with it.
Well, so if you look at the link I just shared, it's called Banjo. And what it does is it turns everybody who's involved in a situation into a news reporter. So like a news station can't send somebody out to a protest that's going on. It's going to take 40 minutes to get there. But everybody has their phone and they're going to tweet pictures. So if you look at these pages rank high in search results. There's no content. It's just pictures. Maybe there's a little bit of content, but as you start getting into like the big trending tweets, there's no content. It's just pictures. If you want content, you actually have to like click on it. It's one of those things where it's like people are just, they get to choose their facts now. They get to choose what part of the story they want to hear. And it's one of those things where it's interesting to think about, like, oh, it's not trending, so let's throw the content to maybe get some SEO boost. But once it's trending, strip it because we don't need it anymore. Like, it's very interesting to think about, you know?
Yeah, for us.
But I mean, like, every news station in the world is now using Banjo because they don't have to send reporters to Afghanistan anymore. They can just let the people who live there film it and upload their tweets or whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
like they literally stopped the whole idea of guest blogging, and they're just pulling in feeds through an API.
So it's all just user. I feel like I heard about this before.
But like, so if you go on Facebook, you're only going to see the posts that are on Facebook. Or if you only go on Twitter, you're only going to see the. This is pulling in everything. If you posted a
it's
photo,
aggregating it.
It's aggregating it, so it's on like most of every social site, you know. And like the cool part is, I think Jason would really get into this, is like they have to know that hashtag banana and hashtag Kim Kardashian are trending right now, and they actually mean the same thing because Kim Kardashian slipped on a banana. Like that whole idea.
Not enough padding. I mean, why does she need any more discussion about her?
No, but it's one of those things where it's like you have to know that hashtag water and hashtag hookah are because somebody's talking about how to do this. You know, like those two hashtags to us, which should never be together, but somehow because it broke out hashtag water hookah, it's now the biggest thing that's trending on Twitter right now. They have to know somehow these relate, you know. And then it has to die at some point because a trending hashtag won't trend forever. But then if it trends again, you can't load posts from 6 months ago because you only want the ones in real time. Like that will blow your mind just trying to comprehend what that company is doing.
Oh.
And it's one of those things, again, their content is just pictures and what's going on. You don't click on it and says, well, a thing broke out. And no, here's just pictures because that's all people are interested in.
Yeah.
You know, so when you get into
like shorter content.
Well, when you get into like length and whatever, like here's a company that's doing amazing things. They don't have length. It's the user chooses to load 20 more videos or 20 more posts. They don't care about length. They just want you to have access to it, you know? And I think when you look at it from that point, then the discussion becomes moot about length because it's all about content.
Right. It's all about them understanding what's happening and not about time on site.
I think it's educating people and it's making them smarter because of what's going on.
Hey, I'm not against time on site, just for the record. I like time on site. But I'm just saying,
I don't like bouncing questions
for longer.
Well, the best way to pull off time on site is just put a video on that's that long, and then you're good.
A video that's 76 minutes, say?
Right.
Well, it's actually one of those things where, like, you'll tweet and, like, you'll see if Banjo's trying to pull it in. So you'll spend 4 hours waiting to see if your post comes in the loop. I mean, like, so if you want time on site, like, you just have to do something that lets people interact with it and then not load it for 4 hours, but just make them keep refreshing the page, and there's your time on site. I mean, it's really that easy when you think of stuff like that. If you want time on site, there's so much easier things to do instead of saying you have to have 7 photos and they all have to be captioned and you have to have a video. Like, this company is like shattering all the premeditated thoughts we had about content and length. And I mean,
so Russ, when you're writing your blog posts, I know that you talk them. You
yes.
them, okay.
Right into here. Yes, I do.
But seriously, you're kind of a strategic person, so I'm sure you have something in your mind of a ballpark word count.
Do you want to know what the worst part?
Divulge your ballpark.
Do you want to know what the worst part about it is, Bridget? Is so we have this thing that's called editing, where you could just write and then go back and fix later.
What? You can edit it?
Down.
I'm not that guy. So I'll be like,
Oh.
okay, so I was reading this blog post, and so I was doing this thing, and if I mess up, I'll delete it and I'll start all over again. Like, I won't just like delete the last 3 words.
What? No, editing.
No,
Editing is like the custom post type of writing.
I'm not arguing that, but what I'm saying is like when I don't have time in the car, like because mostly when I talk in my blog posts, I'm in the car driving.
Hey Siri, I want you to say the following.
No, but like
Siri, edit my blog post.
I can't look down to delete 3 words and then start up again. So I delete it and I'll just go again. And then like by the time of my article, like I have it so down pat to where I could almost word camp each blog post, you know?
Yeah, but
like,
what I'm saying is you must still have an idea of how long it should be.
No, so I've had things where I'm like, listen, I love this band. I went and I saw this band, and that was it. And then there's other blog posts where I'm like, dude, I got to go meet the band, and we were like having beers and tacos, and then they gave me this shirt. It's just like whatever the story happened to be, that's how long the blog post will be. Like, I'm not into.
So you keep reinforcing my vague answer of it just depends.
It just depends.
No, well, no, the story can only be the story. I'm not one to like throw in random facts or to be like, oh, here's their Wikipedia bio just for content filler. Like,
some
if
people think it's content filler. Other people think, hey, okay, Russ, it's just me and Russ. So, hey, Russ, can I call you Russ? You know those people who you have to give a bibliography to everything you say?
Yeah.
Okay, so sometimes grabbing another quote from somebody else just makes, because nobody cares what Bridget Willard says. But if Bridget Willard quotes Chris Lemma.
Well, then you have people that don't even know how to do. Yeah, people that don't even know how to Wikipedia themselves. So they just go like, "Where's the Wikipedia link? Why didn't he put a Wikipedia link in here? I'm so used to being hand-fed things. Where's the links?"
Wikipedia is so hard because you have to have other sources like put you and like talk about you, and so it's like literally Wikipedia did the Krispy Kreme strategy. Like Wikipedia is only word of mouth that people can talk about you. So like,
but if somebody has no idea who like Metallica is, and you went to a Metallica concert, and you're like, oh, well, here's Metallica. Metallica was this and that, and you just put a link in there that says, if you want to learn more about this particular band, I know you have no idea who these guys are, but click on this link and you can read about it first, or here's a video for it, or whatever.
A link would be great, but it's usually like they copy the first 2 paragraphs where it's like Metallica started out as Slurpee Cup, and then they migrated to Water Bottle, and then they found the name Metallica. Like, it's usually one of those things where you can tell it's filler, where it's like, oh, hey, by the way, did you know that the kidney bean was invented in... Just talk about kidney-shaped pools and shut up. Like, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where...
Try to get over 300 words.
Yeah, but
300 is the minimum. I like 8. 8 is my happy spot. I can do between 5 and 800 words. And
sure, fair enough.
Getting over that is more difficult for me.
I don't think about any of that, but I also never went and did a English, class or
had
went to college or had an editor.
1,200.
I'm married to a grammar Nazi, and so I just usually just go like, hey, babe, so log into the thing and go read it. And when you're done, feel free to hit post, or if you don't want to do it right now, feel free to schedule it.
I wanted
married a WordPress developer, story by Jen Tucker.
I wanted to be a journalist, so when I went there, I kind of feel like when you're a journalist and your editor says, hey, write me 1,200 words, I feel like it's not because I can't write 1,200 words. I feel like somebody messed up and only wrote 300 words, and the guy was expecting 1,200. So now, to solve that, he just makes everybody write 1,200 words. So honestly, I don't think it's about the length. It was some guy in Fresno who was lazy and didn't want to write 1,200 words. Now
what's up with Fresno? Fresno people aren't lazy.
Fresno people are.
I went to Fresno State and I lived there for 3 years.
Go ask Cosper. Cosper will tell you.
He's from Bakersfield, and the Fresno people look down on the people from Bakersfield. So just saying.
There's a hierarchy in the high desert. Is that what you're saying?
A hierarchy is Joaquin Valley.
but so like I'm really focused on this thing that's called the greater conversation. So
awesome.
So I think the greater conversation too, like what length is better. I think the conversation is like what dictates the length. Like what happened 100 years ago at like some printing press that made somebody say you have to have X amount of things.
Because they wanted to fill up the white space.
Yeah, but now Google is going off of something that was written 1,200 years ago that now their algorithm is just because, Ben Franklin decided to only write 2 paragraphs, and they're like, well, that's not creditable source.
That's what I'm saying. So are we writing for Google or are we writing for humans? Are we writing longer?
Unfortunately,
Google says it's better.
Unfortunately, like people feel like you have to do both, and I'm one of those people that I don't care. Like my blog is not just about blogging. My blog is not just about music. My blog is just whatever the hell comes in my head, and like if I don't write it down, it doesn't leave my head. So my blog is completely random. I'm not there for length. I'm not there for width. I'm not there for height. I'm there to get it out of my head by telling a story.
Okay, so here's from a content strategy standpoint, if you can write a story with 1,800 words that could be broken up into 3 600-word posts.
Look at you doing math.
I tutored algebra for 10 years. So
you forgot the remainder. Go on.
There's no remainder.
Did you have to use a parallelogram for that?
So what I'm saying is, like, sometimes filling up your content calendar, you get more use out of that content if you make it a series. I mean, this is one of the benefits of having an older husband, because he always says, oh yeah, Batman was originally a serial and it would be in the newspaper and it'd only be so long, or whatever it was, or Charles Dickens or whoever. I don't know what he's talking about, right? But that's how they used to write. They didn't just write books. They wrote it in a series. That's why it's called a serial.
Can I blow your mind about Batman?
Uh-oh.
Blow my mind.
So,
no spoilers.
Yeah.
What?
No,
what was his name?
So Orson Welles wanted to play Batman like way back in like the late 40s, early 50s, and the movie studio said, no, you aren't a Batman figure. You don't have a strong jaw. You're not that guy who could be Batman.
Right.
So he went on to produce love stories, and had they have said, yes, you could do Batman, our whole movie life would be flipped around. Superhero movies would have been from the early 50s to now, and we would just now be getting into love stories and comedies instead of vice versa.
That's funny.
Isn't that interesting?
It's like the Butterfly Effect film version.
Yeah, really.
Feel free to steal that headline.
It's just because someone said, no, I don't think you can do this. It's one of those things where he's like, all right, I'll go write a love story then, because I could be a guy who falls in love.
I will tell you my Batman story. When I was in high school, the Batman came out with Michael Keaton. I'm a little bit older than you, my friend. And I stood in line with my lame boyfriend because he was my boyfriend, and that's what you do. And I knew Michael Keaton from Mr. Mom. And I said, no way is Michael Keaton going to make a good Batman.
I think
he's one of the best. He was one of the best.
One of the best.
Well,
one of the best.
I love Michael Keaton's Batman just because it was. When I think of Batman,
was so raw.
No. When I think of Batman, I think of like goofy things and like question marks on the walls and like potions and rums and like.
Not for the Dark Knight version with the Tim whatever.
No, the Tim Burton version is what I'm talking about. It was weird and quirky and just insanely goofy. But you look at the later versions with Christian Bale, and I forget the director's name, but they didn't have a lot of that. It wasn't.
No, they were darker.
Crazy. Well, it wasn't like.
Scarier.
Well, it wasn't like drink this potion and you become a superhero, or it was like they had a plot. Christopher Nolan is his name, by the way.
Right, Christopher Nolan. Right, yeah. But the Michael Keaton with Jack Nicholson as the Joker. I don't even like superhero movies.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Period. End of story. So it's just funny, like, how you would think that somebody gets typecast. I wonder if you get typecast in your blogging content and you think that you can't reach out. I mean, see, you're doing something I would never do. Like, I have a different domain for all my Jesus blog posts than I do for my social media blog posts, And then I write about WordPress on WordPress. So
Right.
for you, you're doing custom post types on one domain. I'm having different domains.
Yeah.
So I wonder if
Yeah.
I wonder if you ever get sort of typecast as a writer and you don't get to explore different.
Well, so
Just to segue this all together,
the-
that's my superpower.
the way that I think about it, though, Bridget, is we started off this WPblab as is post length. Does it count or not? But then we jumped to something else, and then we jumped to something else.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if we had to leave this show to go sign into Batman Blab to go talk about Batman, but then we had to leave to go to Length Blab to talk about the length. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Right.
we don't talk that way when we're interacting with each other outside of
What?
blogging.
We're human beings. Get out of town.
I'm just saying, like,
We're not going off brand when we change subjects.
I run my blog more like conversations that I have, where I'm like, hey, did you hear about this?
That's crazy talk.
Well, so I'm like, hey, have you heard about this band? And someone will be like, yeah, it sounds just like this other band. Oh, yeah, hey, did you know that I was listening to that band like gardening? Or, like, my blogs are a lot like that, where they all intersect with each other, but they're just completely random.
Oh, which reminds me of your poster from last year. Hate to say it, but it's in the bathroom, so I spent some more time looking at it.
Oh, they hung it in the bathroom? Oh,
The custom post types, Johnny Cashed. That is hilarious.
Thank you.
That's so funny. That's why I didn't take a picture of it, Russ. It's in the bathroom.
Most of my blog posts are for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm writing so that somebody just like me who's having the same problem I'm having can go
Jason
through real quick.
uses it as a post-it note.
They do. It's totally true. So like a while back,
there needs to be a plugin called Post-it Notes. Oh my God!
Well, check this out. Like this particular post right here, I wrote a blog post that outlines how I recorded for 24 hours a day a bird's nest that was outside my window. No joke.
Yeah, I remember you did that.
That was my post. My post was, how the heck did I do this? I wrote an entire documentation on how to do this. Now, am I ever going to do that again? No idea. But somebody is going to be out there that's going to go like, why can't I get this to work? And, they'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like I had another one where I was like, you know what? I really hate that I keep hitting Command Q on accident. I hate it.
I hit Command H on everything.
I hate it. So what I do, I found a way. There's this app called Carabiner that will totally make it so you have to hit Command Q twice in order to get to quit.
That's funny.
So I wrote a post to do it because I'm not going to remember this.
Okay. You hit a good point, Jason, because originally when I started my YouTube Can Be a Guru blog, that's exactly why I did it, because somebody would ask me a question. I'm like, if I'm doing this once, I'm doing it for the world. And that was an easy reference guide for me to just, why should I use Twitterless? Okay, go to bridgetwillard.com/Twitterless. That's why I did it originally.
Right.
But when you're blogging for a company, it has to be more intentional.
Well, or I have this one. I'm like, I want to know how to use tags in the Finder. So I did all this research as if I was writing like, some type of really crazy thing with my journalism degree that I don't have. And I was like, I really want to know how to do this thing. So I did all the research for for everyone else to explain how to use tags in Finder. Why not?
You really are a lifelong learner. You're not messing around over here.
No, I want to learn this stuff and I want to remember it and I'm going to forget it. So I need to. Not only that, I forget what the name of apps are. So I wrote an entire blog post devoted to how to remember the name of stupid apps.
Yeah.
So that way I could just type in a word and it just finds it real quick.
So Jason, last Tuesday I went to the Vegas PHP developer group.
Yeah.
And I've heard the name of more startups in 30 seconds than I have ever heard in the WordPress community. So this is how it went, okay? This kid goes, have you ever used the Symfony framework? He's like, I think it's really good. I love the complex libraries. And this other kid goes, no, but I've used Cucumber Melon. And so what I like about Cucumber Melon, and then somebody was like,
they're ridiculous.
Yeah, I like mustache. No, I like handlebars. I want my bourbon neat, darn it.
No, and then somebody was like, but have you ever used Bobblehead? Yeah, it's kind of like toothbrush. Yeah, but it's kind of like bobby pin.
Please tell me you're exaggerating.
No, it's one of those
please, Russ.
No, it's one of those apps where it's like Cucumber and it like solves world peace. Why don't you just call it world peace? Like No, because cucumber wasn't taken. Like, seriously, it's one of those
That
things.
is not the right reason to name your company something.
So
It wasn't taken.
So-
I
so-
just
Oh my
So
gosh.
here's the
Oh
other
my
thing,
gosh.
Bridget, is my blog is designed to be a hangout. Sometimes I like to escape from reality and I just want to read something stupid like a joke, or I just want to read something. So my blog is not like the 30 ways to tell that JFK was shot by Lee Harvey Oswald. It was just like, do you want to laugh? Like, do you have a minute? Do you want to laugh? That's kind of what my blog is about. I'm not like trying to get users and hits to like build up a Google Analytics page. It's just